Okay, it looks like we're back. Good deal. Today, it's the 14th of July when I'm recording this. And today I'm going to read to you a rough draft of an article that I will be submitting when it's finished. I'll submit it to MUFON probably when it's finished. And it's entitled, working title anyway, Walking a Mile in Alien Shoes. And I think that's what we need to plan for when we have an experience so that you know how to respond. And I think as I go through this, I should touch on all the bases, and we'll just see how this goes. So, the article begins like this. Suppose an unwanted encounter with ET or Sasquatch in your own backyard has just boldly sent you where you would never go on your own. Normal is now just a town in central Illinois. As fight or flight, that instinctual lifesaver, fades away, one sees that it is not a life strategy going forward because it offers a false choice. If Captain Kirk could only fire photons or run away, there would be no Federation. And I've listened to it now, cutting away from the article for a moment. In the article, I get 1,500 words or less, so I have to leave out a lot. But in listening to the Facts by How to Hunt and all of the emails that people send in, there's an awful lot of people who are traumatized when they unexpectedly encounter any cryptid of any type. Most people encounter a Sasquatch when they encounter something, and a lot of those are frightening, and I get that. And so what I'm thinking is, if when the fear subsides and the adrenaline crush is over and you're back to letting reason run your life more or less, if we had a plan for how to respond to this, it could be very helpful to a lot of people. And so that's kind of the angle I'm taking here. Likewise, if Neo took the blue pill, the Matrix would still have him. Don't get me wrong. PTSD, ridicule, scorn, denial, confusion, isolation, and all the other terrible factors may accompany an encounter, and those must be properly handled by the experiencer. Don't want to discount how bad this is, because so far that has not happened to me, but it could. Also, what I am about to suggest may not be for everyone. It is only for your inner Spock. I'm trying to come to grips with this in my mind, how I should behave, and that's why I wrote the article. Your encounter with the unknown may also offer you a mission not impossible should you choose to accept it. A growing body of experiencers indicate that humans may be tagged or adopted by Sasquatch, for instance, for unknown reasons. They choose you. So, what if the encounter represents an opportunity for little old us to become ambassadors on behalf of humankind to an as yet unacknowledged species of mankind? And Uncle Sabe wants you, of all people. Just think of it. You can be one of the first humans to respond intelligently to an offer of interaction from another species. And you don't have to wormhole all the way to Alpha Centauri to make this happen. How do we, and more importantly, how should we, want to be perceived by those we have encountered, especially if they see something in us. Is the encounter not an invitation to rise above the mundane and be the best you and me that we can manage? That alone may be all they ask. It is a given that Sabe has an ongoing relationship with First Nations people around the globe. And I do not claim to know how the First Nations people approach that. Now, let me stop there for a moment. Let's say First Nations shaman and elders and experiencers all have a relationship, and most of the other First Nations people are much more aware of these beings than a lot of people. And I don't even know, now they may be taking this tact already, I don't know. They have certainly figured out how to coexist with these beings. Back to the article. I am just an average child of Western so-called culture. My people don't know much about this, and neither do I. The question then becomes, what qualities should an ambassador for humankind of Earth exhibit? How should one step up their ethical and spiritual game and comport oneself? Is business as usual with your fellow man even an option? I mean, and away from the article for a second, anytime you're going to encounter these things and then begin to think about what's going on here, it's going to color your whole universe and everybody in it. And you do have a choice. When you start thinking about it, you do have a choice on how you react. This may be a good time to mention the book I like. Now, I'm old, so all the books I remember from my youth are ancient. There was a book called Response. It was by a Baha'i, and that's what it was about, your response, basically, to the unknown. And that's what we're deciding here. You have control over your response to these things. And I think that's where ufology needs to get to decide what is the response we should strive for. By that I mean, can I show my best self to a critical, unknown species and not do the same for my fellow Homo sapiens? This is the slippery slope. If I did that, would that make me hypocritical? Is the encounter not a call to greatness through service to our fellow, quote, man, unquote, earthly, interdimensional, or otherwise? Now, if this is the first of my episodes that you might be listening to, I'm researching the writings of the Baha'is, and in earlier episodes, I've made it very clear that those writings say there are 4 kingdoms of physical creation: mineral, vegetable, animal, and man. And the things that are part of the kingdom of man are there because we share the mind of man with them. Self-awareness, intellect, ability to know God. Okay, back to the article. Only E.T. or Sabe may know the reason any particular person got the invite. But what should we do about it in case it ever happens again? Perhaps the first step is simply to walk a mile in their moccasins. Consider this. Now, I hear a lot of people respond, they're angry and upset, probably because they're scared, when they especially encounter a Sabe where they live, and they didn't know they were real, and they're upset that they'll feel like they can go back in the woods without a bigger gun, even though they realize that a bigger gun isn't going to help them. And there's a lot of people searching for a way to look at this. So, from Sabe's point of view, consider this. When you bought your house, you probably got a warranty deed from the seller. The warranties in a warranty deed are promises from the seller to you. Like, there's a bunch of them. One of them that is easy to understand is quiet enjoyment. The warranty of quiet enjoyment basically means the seller's not going to come back whenever they want to and build a fire and roast wieners on your front yard. It's not going to happen. He gave you a promise that he's not going to do that. But, and this is in the paper, did E.T. or Sabe sign your deed? No. They made no promise to you at all. Are they under the jurisdiction of government? Federal, state, provincial, king, or queen? No, they're not. Are you thinking first in time, first in right? So get off my lawn. Well, don't think that. Consider this, quote, we cannot say then that there was a time when man was not. At most, we can say there was a time when this earth did not exist and that at the beginning man was not present upon it. So first in time, they may have arrived on Earth by orb or spaceship or whatever, interdimensional landing pad, we don't know, while our species, Homo sapiens, was still evolving for the next countless millennia. We don't even know how many million years they may have been here before our particular species became self-aware. So we don't know who was first. Not that that should even really matter. Or how about might makes right? Space Force? No, let's not go there. We're not the big kid on the block in this regard at all. Consider justice. Quote, the purpose of justice is the appearance of unity among men. Quote, no radiance, he declares, can compare with that of, let me get this wording right, with that of justice. The organization of the world and the tranquility of mankind depend upon it. We definitely want whoever we have encountered to be fair to us, right? Also, I think some of my readers might agree that ufology and mankind have long been victimized by, shall we say, a lack of transparency regarding the true nature of the universe. Given the PTSD that can accompany surprise encounters with E.T. or Sabe, should we allow ourselves to be victimized by a brush with the truth, when we could, individually or collectively, prepare protocols to guide us? Is there a roadmap for such a mission? I believe there is. If we had looked to the writings of my research back in 1938, we would have found this, quote, a mechanism of world intercommunication will be devised, embracing the whole planet, freed from national hindrances and restrictions, and functioning with marvelous swiftness and perfect regularity. You're watching me on that right now. Then we all might have purchased Apple and Microsoft stock real early in the game, but I digress. The writings of my research suggest regarding unknown beings. Look upon him with the eye of friendship. Be mindful that you do not consider him as an enemy and simply tolerate him, but as a strategy, for that is but stratagem and hypocrisy. This is not becoming of any soul. You must behold him as a friend. You must treat him well. This is right, unquote. This describes how you should behave, quote, if you have an enemy, unquote. And we truly can't say that E.T. or Sabe fall into that category, now can we? We have some suspicions that a few of them might be doing some dicey stuff, but even if they are, that's how you're supposed to behave towards them. Okay. For mere strangers, these writings say this, quote, be generous in prosperity, and thankful in adversity. Be worthy of the trust of thy neighbor, and look upon him with a bright and friendly face. Be unjust to no man, and show all meekness to all men. Be a home for the stranger, a balm to the suffering, a tower of strength to the fugitive. Be eyes to the blind, and a guiding light under the feet of the erring. Be an ornament to the countenance of truth, a breath of life to the body of mankind." Unquote. It goes on quite a bit. There's a lot more to it than that. I've tried to leave in the parts that are particularly relevant for what we're talking about. But it gives an indication of the work that I need to do on myself, and no mistake. Other religious texts make similar statements, but I haven't heard them applied to visitors from beyond the normal for whatever reason. Mounting evidence suggests our friends from out of town are well aware of all earthly religious traditions. So, maybe you haven't had an encounter yet? Well, get ready. I'm an old guy. I remember the Candid Camera TV show theme song. It went, "When you least expect it, you're elected. You're the star today. Smile, you're on Candid Camera." Nobody asked for that either. They had to get their consent to be on the show. But no one knows when these things might show up in your life. They may never, or they might show up today. You don't know. Also, if you're reading the article, you who are watching may not be MUFON members. My article says, also you are a MUFON member. We are all self-described independent seekers of the truth. Are we not? How should such an august association deal with the reality of new intelligent species of man? Should we really entrust this mission to government? No, no, no. They are unprepared. They have not been chosen, and they do not have mankind's best interest anywhere on their person. In summary, anytime you encounter the unknown, you are given the opportunity to build a better version of yourself. All the rabbit holes should lead to humility before the vastness of the universe, if nothing else. And that is an opportunity not to be squandered. Am I up to this? We'll see. Unquote. That's the end of the article. So let's see. I do have footnotes. Here are some, in case you wanted to get a screenshot of those, and here are the rest. So yeah, I think that to move all of this forward, we need to get beyond reacting. We need to get beyond asking the government to admit that they're real. Who cares whether the government admits it or not? We need to help the rest of humanity understand that they're real. And we know the facts, so we should get out there, get the facts out there that we know. That will be enough. And so that's another reason why I am sharing this, my experiences, and the other things that I'm finding in the writings that apply to the situation in which we find ourselves. Because I think they might help what's the word I'm looking for? They might help define a path forward, and there will be more than one. And like I said, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to not be afraid, and I'm trying to engage in a cautiously optimistic way, and I have not seen them yet. So anyone who says, well, that once you see them, that'll be the end of that. Well, you might be right. We'll know when that happens. But even then, I feel like we need to try to get beyond that to see what else is going on here, because there's a lot of things that seem to be converging at this time in all of our lives. I don't know exactly how far it's all going to go at this point in time, but there are other previous episodes on this YouTube channel and previous published articles that I've written for MUFON that deal specifically with that. Not my opinion, but from the writings. And that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to ask questions based on what I'm finding in my research, because my opinion doesn't mean anything. So, if you subscribe to the channel, thank you. I talk to myself out loud all the time anyway, but it's nice to talk out loud for other people and share a little bit of what I think I know. And I'm really happy that you're here listening to this. So thanks for being here, and hopefully there'll be more soon. Have a good July.